Hey, Stefan, can I get a mic check? Do you hear me loud and clear?
Absolutely.
Thank you, bro.
everyone, this is Steve Ficacci, and you're watching a Vintage Racer Group, Vintage Racer League race from Sonoma. Today we're racing Audi 90 GTO cars. We're currently in about 8 minutes into a 30-minute practice, which will be followed by a qualifying session. The qualifying session will be 15 minutes, and we're going to have two sprint races after that. Probably going to be a bit quiet till the practice session's over. Hopefully we get a couple more cars. Looks like we have about 5 cars on track now, but we expect 10 to 15 as usual. I'm going to sign off for a bit, and I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes. Hey everyone, once again this is Steve Focacci with the VRG. You are watching a VRL race from Sonoma. We are in the Audi GT90s tonight. In about 1 minute, practice is going to end. We're going to start a 15-minute qualifying session. As you can see, we've got about 4 cars within a few tenths of each other right at the front. Seems like we're going to have a light field tonight. I don't know if we get another race or real world race conflicting or what, but hey, we've got 8, and like I said, it's pretty close at the front, so I think we'll have a good show. So time is counting down on qualifying. From our experience, there's a few good laps in the beginning of the tires that you really want to take advantage of. They have about 5 minutes to get around the track, and I think I saw that, or 15 minutes, sorry, and I think I saw that most of the faster cars were kind of in the low 130 range, so they should be able to get a couple good laps in, assuming they don't damage the car. If you look at the info we have there, it's a 78-degree day. Not too windy. I'm looking for the track temp. I don't see it. That's in there actually. What was that say? 117 maybe? It's a little too small on my screen to make out, but that'll be a bit tricky. It's on the hotter side for what we experience here in the sim, and typically it makes the track greasy when it's that hot. Right now we're following around with Ian Ditson. He had the fast time of qualifying practice session that led into this. We could jump on board and do a drive-through, see what this is all about. So here we are heading into the final corner. Ian's going to start his first flying lap. No, I did do a few laps before this started, and it looks fairly uneventful, but actually that front stretch, you really got to get all your turning points quite right, otherwise you won't be able to make it through flat. Not too good with the corner numbers, but the top of the hill there, that right-hander, that's a tough corner. The corner goes away, and I mean, it's hard in a spec Miata, so it's even tougher in a car like this. He's working to get to the right to start the big long left for the carousel. You have to be a little bit careful there when you put the power down, otherwise you'll get a 4-wheel skid coming off that corner. It'll 1, chew up the tires, and 2, it can be unpredictable when the car does hook back up. It gets slowed down for the hairpin. Once again, matching throttle, try to keep the car to the left, set up for the second to last corner. This is going to be the number 1 braking and passing opportunity on this circuit. First gear. And that's a lap. So in the booth with me, I have Jim Karamatis. Jim, how you doing?
I'm great, Steve. How are you doing?
It's probably like the first day I've not been killed with allergies. Since I left West Virginia, my head's just been kind of big pressure-filled fog. I feel like I've been in, but it's starting to feel better. You can probably hear it a little bit in my voice.
Yeah, I definitely hear it.
The biggest thing I had was my teeth hurt. Like, there was so much pressure, I guess, like pushing down on my gums. But like I said, I am feeling a bit better today.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. I wanted to go to New Jersey Motorsports Park and check out a NASA event this last weekend, but it just couldn't make it happen with the way I was feeling.
Yeah. Well, I hope you had a good time at the VRG Vintage Racer School.
Yeah, I had a great time. Wonderful weather, racing around the track, through the school. Just a wonderful experience for, in every aspect.
Yeah, that's great. You did a great job.
It was nice to, and I mean, like, we have our pub, and so I do know what most of the guys look like, but to meet them in real life was nice, and, just a great bunch of guys we have here.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And everyone's a different height than you expect, right?
Yeah, John Wood's tall as hell. Again, you know what it is? I guess, like, you just expect, when you talk to somebody, like, in a Zoom meeting, you just expect they're at your height, right? Like, they're just right in the screen. Why would they be tall or short,
Of course. Steph and Darren, all those guys are pretty tall.
Yeah.
So it looks like people are struggling a bit here.
So, it's a hard course. I think the elevation makes everything a little bit trickier than it is. There's no, like, real 90-degree corners. If you see, you can see there, like, the corner's got a little camber, off camber. Like, it's just, there's nothing easy about it. Nothing straightforward, about any of the corners. And, and as we've said before, it's just a tough car to get around any race track, let alone a tough one.
Yeah, I sat down yesterday, turning the sim on for the first time since the last race, and I've been struggling with some issues with my hand, and between the pain in my hand and not knowing which way the track went, I couldn't make a lap. I was really impressed with how difficult this track is.
Yeah, it really is, and it's fun once you get the hang of it. Just the flowing, and I prefer tracks with elevation, but yeah, no, it is tough. It's not a very long lap either. About 1:30, which I would say is probably on the shorter side.
I guess we're running the Cup version. They have some longer versions of the track. This seems to be one of the more popular.
I think this is the longer of most of the versions. And I don't know the names of them all, but like that carousel section, that's like the first thing they omit, which is a good chunk of the track. So I think by using this layout, we end up with 2 hairpins, 2 long straightaways, which kind of gives us a bit of passing opportunity. So I think this is the best layout for us right now. Yeah, I mean, I did do a few laps, and I just found that the key really is just being patient on the throttle when you're exiting the corner. You just have so much underneath your right foot where overwhelming the tires is not going to get you anywhere in a good way. So, just keeping the car tame really seems to just produce good lap time as you can keep proper to the racing line, using all the road at all the times, where if you're fighting the car because you're spinning the tires, you're not going to be able to do that.
Well, having raced the car all season, I can say everything you're saying is absolutely true. The guys that are going fast, especially Stefan and Darren, and I'm sure Ian Ditson will do tonight, they've just mastered how to roll into the throttle on this car. You can't mash it like you can some of the lower horsepower cars. You induce so much throttle spin, and it's not just 2 tires, it's all 4 tires.
Yeah.
The car's just a beast. It makes it super fun to drive, but in order to be smooth, you have to be incredibly smooth with your feet, which is the big difference in this car versus, think about just about any other car that we've raced yet in VRL.
So, there may not be another car, but I don't have any experience with 4-wheel drive cars in the sim, and I expected the 4-wheel drive to make it easier, which it does not. It totally makes it harder.
Yeah, and you know the fact that it's almost 800 horsepower
Yeah.
probably contributes to it as well. And these tires on the car, they're enormous,
Hmm.
but they just don't feel sticky. And again, it's probably 800 horsepower spread amongst four wheels, and
Yeah.
it just everything just spins everywhere all the time, which is glorious when you're in the car, but when you're trying to go fast,
Yeah.
it can be quite the challenge. And I tell you what, if any of these guys have laps at this track, it's going to be an advantage. Every track we've been to, the guys that have more laps on the track sort of
Yeah.
come to the front. I mean, I know when we raced at Sebring, I have an just absurd amount of laps there because of all the endurance racing we've done the past year. And that track came easy to me. And then I went to Mid-Ohio, where I don't have a lot of laps, and I was at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. It was just brutal. You know, learning a new track in a car that's so difficult is a huge challenge.
Yeah. You know, having a car that's so fast, it almost, you know, it like adds corners to a circuit where, like, if you were driving a Skippy where, like, a kink or whatever may just be a flat, no big deal. Like in this car, just navigating that right-hander we're watching now, then this left, you know, you have to be right on line. If you're off a little bit, you're going to have to lift. And, you know, that essentially adds corners and just more parts of the track you have to learn.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It really, this car, because of the horsepower, turns what would be a straight and a regular car into yet another corner. It makes it a huge challenge, and when you don't know a circuit already, you're not going to know the nuances. It makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, I was trying to, when I did my few laps earlier, I was just trying to take note and see if there was something I could relay to the guys about, you know, what exactly I was doing. And I really couldn't come up with anything. And just, like, when I'm trying to feel the car losing grip on the front, like, I don't know if I'm feeling it in the wheel or, like, visually seeing it or, you know, like, I wasn't really sure how I was doing it. You know, I was very aware I was doing it. I just, you know, I wanted to be able to give the guys some pointers, but I'm just a little bit lost on how to relay that information to the guys and, you know, give them a pointer and how to do that.
Well, and it's a big struggle, especially since the real racing season started. And I'd say the majority of guys in this league race vintage cars in the real world, and you get so used to responding to the way the car feels, and that's all gone with sim.
Yeah.
You have much less feedback to work with. It's not easy. I mean, I admit when I go from the sim to the real track, it's almost easier. When I go from the real track back to the sim, I have a very difficult time because I don't get the sensations.
Having driven a real car at Summit Point and then driven a bunch of sim Summit Point, I've come to the conclusion that it's like riding a bike. Like, you ride a bike and you don't know, I mean, you kind of know how you do it, but you couldn't tell somebody, like, oh, it's leaning a little bit, you got to turn into it while moving your body. It's just a bunch of things that happen without thinking. And, you know,
That's right.
that happens in a real car. You know, you make a million corrections with the wheel while you're driving. I mean, you do it while you're driving down the street, you know, just pacing the car in front of you. And, I mean, in the sim, that's just so hard. I mean, how often do we crash on pace laps? Because you just can't really gauge and do all those things. And it's like relearning the same exact thing, but different, if that makes sense. Like, it's like learning how to ride a different kind of bicycle. And it's just a different kind of skill set.
Absolutely. Especially when you add in elevation change, because it's difficult to sort of feel the elevation change in the sim.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost just have to know it's there. It's funny, in the sim, I just automatically, like, if I go over a curb or something bumpy, I just automatically, like, roll off the throttle a little bit. And I found myself doing that in the real life at Summit Point when I probably didn't have to, just because it's like a habit at this point that if you're going to hit something, you probably want to not be giving it 100% power.
Yeah, most of the cars we're racing in the real world don't have this kind of horsepower.
Correct.
So they definitely need to keep your momentum up.
So I'm looking at the times here, and Stefan Vappa has found his way to the front. Ian Ditson's very close at the 132 flat. I want to say they were a second slower in practice, so they definitely found some time. Darren turning his first laps, probably of the week, about 8 tenths off of Ian. And then we have Wiley Cox and Michael Kelly in the 133 range, which I think is close to where they were in practice. So hopefully we'll have probably about a 5-car battle at the front for a bit.
Yeah, we're a little shallow competitors this week, and I think there are a lot of people that are probably concentrating on getting their real cars ready for their next real world race. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more participation when we get back to some tracks that people are familiar with. I think most of the people watching at home don't realize how much time each of these drivers has to put into learning a track.
Especially a new one, yeah.
Yeah, especially a new one like this. Next week we're back to Lime Rock, and then we go to Laguna Seca, and I think everyone knows those tracks pretty well.
Yeah. We got about 5 seconds left in the session, and then we'll start with the grid for race 1. Okay, let's see. Grid.
And Dave Curtis marching to the top 4, I see.
Yeah, sure did. Must have got that. That was the last minute there.
Yeah. Dave's really figured out this car this season. He's got a win and quite a few podiums.
Yeah, I'm still amazed how guys who were really good, like in the USF 2000, kind of maybe fell off, and then other guys just adapt well to this car. I kind of look at the cars and say, hey, they're really not that different, but just some of the finer points of them are drastically different. Like when you're taking a car, I mean, you're still always trying to use all the road and brake late and things like that, but just the, like we were talking, like riding the bike and figuring out how to ride this kind of bike, it's just a little bit different than it was on the last car.
Well, yeah, and I have to tell you, for me, as a guy that races a vintage sedan, this car is actually easier for me to deal with than those open wheel cars.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have a bit of a long pace lap. I think we're just waiting on Darren to join the grid, but starting on pole, we have Stefan Vappa. On the outside, we have Ian Ditson. Row 2, we have Darren Treacle and David Curtis. Row 3, we have Wiley Cox and Michael Kelly. Then we have John Clerk and Bob Lang. And in the last row, we have Kurt Uzbey.
And unfortunately, if anyone tries to join now, they're out for the night. Don't make race 1. You're not in race 2.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there a way we could change that?
Someone can figure it out, we'll do it.
I didn't know if that's like a thing you have to like prohibit people from joining. I mean, if guy can make race 2, we should, our little group, no harm in letting them in. I don't feel.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could. If I could figure out how to do it, I'd make it happen. It took me a long time to just figure out how to do these dual sprint races.
Yeah, and it seems like they change the way things work quite a bit. I mean, I don't know if you were using the website initially, and then they have that UI they use, and they both seem to function differently.
Well, you can only use the UI for the heat racing format.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a bit of a learning curve because I had but 8 or 9 years of the website, and the UI is very different.
Yeah.
It's like learning a new racetrack. Yeah, some of the tracks offer the option to do short pace laps. This one didn't for some reason. But it didn't take Darren very long to figure it out, did it?
No, it never does. I probably said it before, but I'm always amazed how fast he picks stuff up. I mean, if you remember, we were practicing for the Daytona Endurance events, and we had a setup that we didn't like, that we were trying. None of us could get around the track, but he seemed to have no problem.
Yeah, he seems to be able to adapt to anything very quickly. And it's true on the real racetrack for him as well. He's always finished well at the SCCA rounds. Boy, this is a long pace lap.
Yeah, this is the second to last corner here, so we'll be going green in a second. Hopefully everybody's got a little heat in their tires, heat in their brakes. as I said, just one car around this front stretch, the way it twists is tough. So side by side could be a little bit hairy.
Oh, it looks like Dixon's a little bit behind already. Oh, he's caught back up.
Green, green, green.
Yeah.
Oh, Stefan went. Darren got 3 wide.
3 wide. Looks like Dixon has the lead.
Oh, Stefan's off. Oh, and he hit Ian.
Oh, no!
And the whole field sighs a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
Although I tell you, a 15-minute race here, or I'm not sure how long it's actually going to go, but Stefan's a bit back, but Ian's going to be able to charge through the field here.
Well, and I think Stefan may have gotten some front-end damage there.
Wait,
Looked like he went into the fencing there. And this car, you can hit it pretty much everywhere except for the front.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of my observation from watching the races is that the sides are pretty bulletproof, even though they may show some damage. The front can end your day early.
The sides and the back, I mean, I've been rear-ended at the start of races, and it makes absolutely no difference in the car's lap times. But the front, I guess all the turbocharger and intercooler stuff is there, and you just tap it, and suddenly the engine just loses power and you blow up.
So let's see if I can. Let's jump back real quick and see what happened there.
Tell you what, Darren's already opened up a sizable lead.
So here's a view from Stefan's car headed to turn 1. And he's sliding. Oh, there he goes. He caught a piece of Ian and a piece of the wall pretty hard. So yeah. That's happened. Let's see if I can do a rear view off of Ian. See what that looks like.
I don't think there's going to be any throat punching today. Oh.
Yep.
Well, came in a little hot.
Well, you know what? I mean, we do have the 2 race format, so it's not the end of the world.
Well, and Stefan likes to practice all the offline stuff. And I know he really doesn't have any time at this track, and he's been busy prepping real-world race cars. So I'm going to guess he didn't put in the practice this week that he normally does, because that's not the kind of mistake.
Yeah, I was going to say, he makes no mistakes. That's usually the thing between him and Darren is like, Darren seems to figure things out and learns from watching Stefan in race 1 and gets faster, whereas Stefan may not get any faster between the 2 races, but he's flawless. He makes no mistakes and often doesn't give Darren anywhere to stick his nose in. Well,
and I would guess that even though Stefan probably has more laps in this car at this track, I would guess Darren probably has a lot of laps in this track because he races a lot.
Yeah.
And he will figure it out, and he's already got a sizable lead. He's going to be very difficult to catch.
Looks like Ian's already up to 5th. Stefan's already caught Kurt Uzbay and made his way up to 8th. So he's definitely in the mix. He's got Clerk already.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how far they can make their way up the field. Curtis, Cox, and Kelly are all quick drivers, so once you get to that point, it's not going to be easy to get by them.
I'm going to say, based on the track map where all the little dots are laid out, they're really not that far spread out yet, so it is possible for them to work their way through the field. Let's see where Stefan Vapp is. Oh, Stefan Vapp is off again. Yeah, he probably just went off there. I guess that's turn 3, maybe just a little bit wide over the top of the hill.
Yeah, again, I think this is just
not
not
curb.
familiarity with the track. I can't even tell you how ugly it would have been if I had been at hand or not.
Typically, I try to not show too many of the mistakes and things like that, but we only have, a handful of cars. We have to show something. A little bit of a lockup. I think that was Dave Curtis locking up into the hairpin. you know, when you're managing the throttle off the corner, it's very easy to over brake going into the corner. And while, you know, there's no real lost time, you know, if you're just at the limit, I have found that, you know, doing that repeatedly can overheat the tires. And then you're just not going to turn as well or stop as well. You know, then you're just going to be fighting it all the time.
Well, you wouldn't think that a car that has tires the size of these that would be a problem, but it's true.
Yeah.
You absolutely can overheat the tires on this car. The harder you push, the slower this car goes. It's very easy in this car to take all your corners sideways with the throttle.
Yep.
The problem is it's fun doing it, but you know, just like Fast and Furious may look cool, but it's not the fast way around the racetrack. Assuming Mike Kelly would start closing in on Curtis with that mistake, but Mike seems to be having his own struggles.
Yeah, right now this is the closest two cars, which is Michael Kelly and Wiley Cox.
Yeah, they seem to be running about equal lap times.
Yeah, looking at my looking at my chart here, the best laps, every single car through the top 6, last lap was a 133 something. So nobody's gaining or losing, you know, at the moment. Oh yeah, you gotta remind me of that, Jim. I do that a lot, sorry. Yeah, yeah, I wish I knew the quarter numbers. That's probably turn 2, I guess, at the top of the hill there. It's just very easy to carry a little bit too much speed and fall offline, which is going to kill your exit into the next corner. And it's not very wide, so if you race side by side through there, you're really going to lose a lot of speed. But just doing it by yourself is tough.
Well, the elevation change is pretty amazing here. Just a few laps I did in the car, I couldn't believe how much it was climbing up and down.
You know, it's funny, racing on the sim, things just kind of feel flatter, if that makes sense. You don't always experience it. It's probably like watching like an F1 race at like Spa. You know, you watch it, and you're like, oh, it's kind of flat. You know, Eau Rouge is obviously steep, but then they'll zoom out of like one of the more technical sections. You'll be like, wow, there's like a huge difference there. Like, but you don't really see it on the onboard. I can only imagine what it'd be like to race this track in real life and feel that, and you kind of feel it in your gut as you're going up and down.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you experienced that at Summit Point a few weeks ago.
You know, it's funny. If you race the sim, you obviously know like turn 4 is downhill, and that's probably the big one. There's a little bit of a downhill just approaching the final corner. But yeah, in the car, I would say everything feels probably double what it feels like if you were like to watch a video or do it in the sim. But then we did the track walk, and I was like, wow, it really is even bigger than it feels in the car.
It's really funny walking down the street when you look back where you came from. You can't believe how far downhill you came.
Right, yeah.
You really don't notice it in the car as much as you do walking the track.
I felt like the car that I was driving, it would kind of stall out, hit a top speed about midway down the straightaway, and then you kind of crest that hill, and all of a sudden it would start accelerating again. And I noticed that some of the cars I was around would start to lift there, probably because they can't believe that, the braking zone's coming up and the car's still accelerating, or accelerating again.
That's right. I actually had an opportunity to go out to Sonoma last year, and COVID thwarted it for me.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good one.
Chance again, yeah.
Were you going to go drive on the track, or?
No, I was just going to go spectate for a weekend, and a friend of mine is related to the gentleman who ran the track at the time, so
okay.
It was an opportunity to, at least do some touring laps after something. But, then the world changed.
Yep.
But we wouldn't have the VRL if it hadn't, so there you go.
Well, it seems like we're going to pretend anyway that the world's back. It seems, all the restrictions are being lifted, and we do still have the VRL. It didn't go away just because things are back to normal. So I think we have everything now.
That's the biggest Jefferson 500 we've ever had. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that was neat.
I see Stefan's catching Ian now.
Yeah, Ian seemed like he was ready to tear through the field, but if you look, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 5 cars right in a row there, so we're all it's gonna come to a climax here as these guys all kind of converge.
Well, and again, they're catching guys that are quick. Cox,
Yeah.
Kelly, and Curtis, they're no slouch, and Darren's just going to check out in this race. There's no way he's going to catch him unless he makes some sort of big mistake.
Yeah, Darren's has about a 6.5 second lead over David Curtis. Dave Curtis has about a 2 second lead over Michael Kelly, but then we have a half second back to Wiley Cox, a half second back to Ian Ditson, and Stefan Vapis right there at about a half second. So.
Yeah, and I would guess Darren's 6 second lead is him just managing the pace at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much the damage on Stefan's car is affecting him.
Honestly, it doesn't look like much. I mean, he just turned a 1:31.8, which is a very fast time.
Very fast time.
You know, that's about as fast as they went in practice. And I know they went, I think it was a 1:31 flat in qualifying. But, you know, qualifying, you can sometimes get a little bit extra out of the tires, which isn't going to be available to him as he's been on the track for a while. So.
Ditson is really pushing Cox here, and it's letting Stefan catch this.
Yeah, let's jump on board with Ian. Well, you can see Ian's got a little damage on the hood.
Yeah, and he's got Stefan right on the bumper now. Good battle here. Cox, one of the newer drivers in the league, but he's a quick driver.
Yeah, sure is. He jumped right in and found himself towards the front. Yeah, you can see just ahead Michael Kelly and Dave Curtis were making the turn as they were approaching.
Good to have Ditson back as well. He's back in college, so I suspect he'll finish out the season with us here.
And then we've got Stefan lurking right behind these two, hoping to pounce on a mistake. Although it seems like we had that initial start, but after that everybody's been pretty well behaved and kind of hitting all their marks. As I say that, I think I cursed Stefan. And we got a side-by-side down the front stretch. Let's see if we can watch it from Stefan's car.
They were like that last lap too. Cox did a good job.
You can hear it just howling those tires through the corner. And that last lap from Stefan was another 131.
Oh! Got 2 wheels off. Somehow kept it going.
Oh!
Cox
is off, and
oh, they touch.
it allows Stefan to get through.
Let's see if Cox can get his way back up there.
Yeah, I don't know about him, but I know me personally, when somebody's catching me sometimes like that, you start pushing a little too hard. And then as they get by you and you kind of settle down because it's over, you know, you find a little bit more pace.
Yeah, it's always either chase and be chased.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump back and see what happened to Wiley there. Oh, Ian actually went to give him a little nudge there. Oh, just a little bit wide on the exit. Then tried to defend, but Ian wasn't having any of it.
He's hanging on to Stefan though.
Sure is.
I'm not sure what the draft is
Oh, you
like
know
at
what?
this track, but this car has to be draft. Oh yeah, Mike Kelly's making inroads here on Dave Curtis.
And this is lap 10 of 12, so including this lap, we have 3 more laps.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all right on top of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, if these guys start battling, it's going to allow Ditson and Stefan to quickly get to the back of them, which I don't think they really want to let happen right away. Yeah, you just got to be super patient on the exit of this corner. It looks big and flat, but as we said, this car has so much horsepower. It's just too much even for that big wide bend. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, these four cars are all, at least their last laps were all about 133 flat. But there was a little excitement with the guys behind last lap, so I would expect them to be able to turn it up a little bit again. Oh, little mistake.
Kelly, yeah, Kelly takes advantage. See if Curtis has
Oh, he's in the wall.
Get back into it. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, they're going to drag race down the front stretch, and Ian's right there.
I think Curtis is going to get this position back.
He's on the right side,
Yeah,
and Ian's there. Oh, Ian get a little bit of a lockup.
Yeah, it's nothing too. It's so easy in this car to just push a little too deep. Oh boy. It's going to be an exciting last lap here.
And a mistake.
Oh,
Michael Kelly locks him up.
takes advantage of Kelly, yeah. Look at that.
Whoop, where are we going here? Now Ian's going to set his sights on Dave Curtis.
Stefan's working on Kelly now.
Let's jump into Stefan's car. Oh, another lockup. So this is the second to last corner. We were getting to wait the flag after this.
Question is, are they going to come out of it? In order they're coming in. No doubt. Oh, Mike Kelly.
Already, no.
Goes off.
And Ian Didson's all over Dave Curtis. Nice and tight. Look at him catch up. Oh, he had a lift. He went a little wide.
I think Stefan a little bit of a run, but Wilson posts his car nicely and slows him down. It's tough playing offense and defense at the same time. Oh, Stefan gets a little bit of a run there. Better exit to a corner.
I think that's going to give Dave Curtis a little breather he needs to solidify second place.
As long as he doesn't make a mistake, he should be in good shape. And Cox is suddenly back in the fray again. And
Oh, Dave Curtis goes wide. Like real wide.
Darren is checked out.
Yeah, Darren has a 12-second lead right now. I feel a little guilty not showing much of him.
It's tough to pass at this part of the track, though.
He's going to set up to. Oh, I think he messed up his run there. And that's Darren Treacle takes the checkered flag. Oh, lockup.
Curtis with
Many lockups.
Massive line.
Oh, Ian spinning the tires.
Oh yeah. Curtis
That's
hangs
it.
on.
Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth place.
Wow.
That was great.
But it's really close race.
Yep. And then now we have Bob Lang coming. Yeah, I think Bob Lang's one of the ones probably doesn't appreciate this car too much. He seemed to really be up front when we were driving the skip cars and even the GT cars early on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kurt Uzbey out of the last corner.
You know what? It's been the opposite for Kurt. Kurt likes this car. He's
Yeah.
definitely gotten a lot more competitive since he jumped from this.
Yeah, we've actually, last few races, we've covered him quite a bit. He's had some really good battles. So Darren Treacle is not going to have easy ride like he just did there. Starting 10th, or 9th, I guess, right? We don't have 10 cars.
Oh, wow. I can hear the fans cheering. How cool is that? you don't hear that when you're in the car, which is when you really need to hear it.
Yeah, give you a little motivation.
Yeah.
So I can't do it, but I've been in leagues where guys turn on the YouTube stream and listen to it, so they know when like they're being talked about. And I just, that sounds like the worst possible idea to me, but I guess some guys want to know that they're being watched at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, maybe that commentator's curse isn't our fault after all.
It's hard enough to maintain concentration on my own.
Yeah.
I don't mind listening to someone commentate in my ear, especially delayed, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was probably a few seconds, right?
Yeah.
So here we got our reverse grid, and I guess it's is it a full reverse grid? Yeah, it looks
Should
like
be,
it.
yeah.
So John Clerk starting on pole for our second race. Joining him on the front row, we have
John's first pole, right? Exciting.
Probably. It's tough when Stefan seems to win most of the races to to spread it around. But joining him on the front row is Kurt Uzbey. Second row, we have Bob Lang and Wiley Cox. In the third row, we have Michael Kelly and Stefan Vappa. In the fourth row, we're going to have Ian Ditson and David Curtis. And starting last, we have Darren Treacle. Yeah, so I think we owe it to Darren a little bit. Give him some coverage this race.
Well, we should get to see him make his way through some traffic here, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had good pace. He seemed like, you know, it wasn't like he just lucked into the race win. I mean, he was definitely one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest, in that last race. I mean, he seemed to run a mistake-free 12 laps.
Definitely not the first time we've seen that, is it?
Nope, not at all. I feel like the camera angles today are quite a bit far away.
Yeah, I wonder if that has something to do with the elevation.
So hopefully everybody's got their brakes warmed and we can have a clean first couple corners.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of weaving in these cars. If you just sort of drag the brake, it does a perfect job of warming the tires up.
Pace car's in, waiting on the green. Oh boy.
I love the fire out the exhaust. It's so cool.
Yeah, green, green, green.
Bob Lang got
John
a good
Clerk
jump.
gets a jump, and it looks like Kurt Uzbey dropped right to the back. Oh, and Stefan spinning, and
Oh, no.
let's watch this race up front. We'll jump back and see what happened. Based on the running order, it looks like Darren has gotten the worst of it. Although hopefully he can get it straightened out. I mean, as we saw in the last race, Ian Ditson and Stefan were able to mount a charge after a first corner incident. And Ian Ditson's already up to second. I mean, I think he started seventh. It's quite a few spots. Here we have Ian Ditson hounding Michael Kelly for the lead. let's oh, yeah, Ian. As soon as this Battlefield Elite settles down, we'll jump back and we'll view that.
Has Ditson had an overall? I mean, he's been second probably a dozen times, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if he has an overall win.
Yeah, I'm seeing Bob Lang, Stefan Bappa, Darren Treacle are on the pit, so not going to have any heroics driving through the field from those guys.
Yeah, Ditson's pushing Kelly hard.
Yeah, I think he's hungry to get that win.
Yeah. Wiley Cox has made his way up to third.
Oh, a little bit of lockup. Ian's to the inside. And Ian's got it.
Door is open. You know, and it is really hard to modulate the throttle on these cars. Again, you can't feel the slide when you're sitting on the sim. Mike Kelly's one of those guys who's really good under the brakes in a real world car. Let's see if he can make a charge back to Ditson.
Yeah, I mean, before in our practice times initially, those guys were all very close. Ian and Stefan pulled out super fast qualifying times, but the practice times would indicate that they should be pretty close.
Bob Lane comes right out into the thick of it, right in front of Wiley Cox. That's Cox through.
Yeah, it's a hard pit lane. I mean, he can't disappear. The only thing you do is pretty much stop at the end of the pit lane.
Another little bobble there from Kelly. Kelly's usually pretty good when he's chasing. He really relishes the challenge.
Yeah, we haven't had Ian around much lately, so I don't know how much racing Michael Kelly has done with Ian on the track. At this point, he knows everybody else and where their pace is and how fast to expect them to be. Even the moves they make. But Ian and Michael probably haven't been around each other too much.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
All right, let's see if I can find the race start and see what happened there. So my first thing I see, it says Kurt Uzbey had an issue. So Kurt Uzbey is the car on the outside pole. I think he's got the Martini livery. Oh, and Bob Lang got a piece of him. Oh, then he finished him off. Then they backed it to Stefan and Darren.
These guys had nowhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably...
And there's no runoff there. You're just...
Yeah, I'm just going to rewind a bit.
You're a prisoner at that point.
Let's see, Darren Treacle. Let's see what Darren saw on the restart. It's going. Oh, a little bit of excitement. Oh yeah. Nothing he could have did there. That's a shame. And then who else did we have there? Maybe Stefan, I think.
Look at that. He just lost the engine.
And here we're going to ride along with Stefan Bappa.
Oh, from that angle, it looks like it's Kurt's fault.
Yeah, no, I agree. It looks like Bob Lang kind of moved over at the start, and let's see, do we have any good views we can do? Nope. Yeah, I mean, that's it. He just drove across the track. I mean, you know what, though? Like, as we were saying, he may have been spinning the tires across the track there and
absolutely
just caught it too late.
Bob would never do anything like that on purpose, that's for sure. And it's so easy to get out of control in this car. There's so much horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been, every single one of us has done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all remember Sebring.
Yeah.
That was a little messy, but yeah, it's, I mean, I said before, that first stretch, even though it's fairly wide and by yourself, you can get through it wide open, but so when you put the cars side by side and you're getting through the gears, yeah, it's very easy to either lose the front end or the back end, or like I said, with the four-wheel drive, just all of them.
Well, yeah, and that really is the thing. You mentioned that the four-wheel drive can be more difficult. It's because instead of 2 tires spinning, all 4 tires are spinning.
Yeah, I mean, like,
with grip nowhere.
yeah, I mean, like with a front-wheel drive car, you feel like it just kind of goes straight when the front tires spin. A rear-wheel drive, you know, we know the back kind of likes to come around, so you just got to manage that. I feel like the four-wheel drive, when it spins, it's like a ship without a rudder. It just, you don't know where it's going to go.
That's exactly correct. You're just along for the ride.
So this is our closest battle. This is David Curtis and Kurt Uzbek. They are battling for 5th position.
I'm impressed that Kurt's car is still going. It's got significant damage in the front. These cars usually do not put up with that. Have a good little battle. Both of them are way off the pace, and I think their cars are both
struggling a little bit.
I mean, Dave Curtis is running about 5 seconds a lap slower than he was running last race.
Looks like we've got some close here for second and third. Wiley Clocks has caught Michael Kelly. You know, my tracker's telling me that they've been running similar lap times, but I know that we were watching before, and when Bob Blank came out of the pits, Wiley lost a bit of time, and so he's definitely caught that back up and then some.
Yeah, and I believe these two escaped the melee. I think their car should be pretty clean. Ian Disson starting to open up a sizable lead now. And the more these two battle, the bigger that lead will get. Oh, and Mike's off.
He's off track.
The funny thing is, when you get off track, you can mash the throttle, and it will recover with the ultimate ride. It seems to recover better off the track than on the pavement.
Yeah, you got to be fully off the track though, because I find that when you got 2 on, 2 off, it's really gonna pull towards the side that does not have the traction.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of the opposite of how it usually works, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know, when we switched to this car, I thought we were like track limits were just going to be like a joke where we could have, the car in the dirt essentially and in the grass, but it's not. It's the exact opposite. Like the track narrowed up, and we really have to be very mindful of not putting tires off.
Yeah, it's very true. Consistency is more important than speed in this car. It really is.
Yeah, I think consistency and patience really.
Putting in some consistent laps, running a strong second place, put in a good distance between himself and Mike Kelly now. It's a neat looking car too.
Yeah, I wish we could get a little closer, but just none of the camera angles really get us too close on this track.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. That's the John Player special.
Yeah.
So far away, it's hard to tell.
Let's see. We got Dave Curtis again with Kurt Uzbek.
Yeah, looks like Curtis had gotten by Uzbek, and Uzbek got back by him.
Yeah, I don't have. Let's see. Kurt Uzbek.
Well, he's having a good little scrap.
Yeah, I think let's see if we can jump back to the replay and see how we got back around. Oh, Dave Curtis went deep into the final corner, missed the break point maybe.
Uzbek.
Kurt just kept it nice and tidy on the inside, and no drama, just drove off the corner and took the spot.
Very cleanly done.
Oh.
And
as we're talking, sounds like they just repaid the favor.
Oh, and right back again. I think Curtis's car is definitely down on some top speed. And it's funny though, because Kurt's car looks worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're turning, you know, pretty slow laps here. It looks like 137, 138, so they're about 5 seconds where they were earlier. Oh, Kurt going defensive maybe a little bit there.
Yeah, they're both taking some very different lines there.
Yeah, so I see a little bit left front damage on Dave's car, and then Kurt's car just looks like the whole front smashed in.
You know, the funny thing is, when the cars are damaged, you can sort of hunt for different lines. Where when the car is healthy, they're pretty much as a line. But when you're so much slower in the corners, you can't sort of do what Kurt did. It's shortest path.
Yep.
Kurt must have been. Curtis must have been tied up in that first lap melee. That's some pretty heavy.
Yeah, I think he was, because he finished.
Tire.
Yeah, it's just sticking out there.
Oh, his alignment's got to be way off.
You know what? Let's jump on board. Oh! Locks him up and and gives Kurt a little chrome horn.
That was like Kevin Man's Sports right there.
Yeah, so I don't know if it'll work, but I'm gonna jump on board, and I don't know if we can see his wheel. Like, I don't know if we're actually seeing, you know, if the damage is real time or not, kind of thing. Yeah, actually, it looks like he's got a little bit to the left.
Yeah, you can see his head popped up there. Boy, Carter's really making that tight line work.
Sure is.
He's making time for every time he goes there. And then coming off, Curtis gets a better jump. And then face in front, we know where to go.
Oh, Kurt.
Oh, no,
Kurt just forgot to turn.
Looks like maybe he locked up the tire.
Yeah, he sure did. It's on the brakes, and yep, just kept on going around. Yeah, it's very easy to do there.
Yeah, you know, you're going up the crest, the car gets super light, and carry a little bit too much speed, it's just not going to turn.
Let's jump back up to the front where we've got Ian Ditson. About a 7-second lead right now.
And up 6 places. He's the big winner so far. And you know, what's really strange is that you're at the bottom of the grid and you've got treacle and Napa. How often do you see that?
Yeah, almost never.
It almost makes me think I should have attempted just turning on all the automatic.
Oh, the assists.
All the assists and driven with one hand tonight.
As I say, maybe a driving line.
Yeah, driving line could be a good points haul. But fortunately, we have 2 drops. It looks like I'm taking one tonight.
Yep.
No, this is great. I'm actually excited to see Ian take a win here. He's always fast. It doesn't matter what kind of car we're in or what track we're at.
Yeah, you gotta imagine too. Like you said, he's usually away at college, so he's not exactly putting tons of time in either.
Right.
So this is starting lap 11 of 12.
He's doing a good job too. It's easy to tighten up at this point when you have a big lead like that. And tighten up, it's easy to make mistakes. He's doing a great job of holding it together.
Yeah, he's turning low 132 lap times, which is of the fastest. I think Stefan is our fastest car on track. His best lap is a high 131, but you know, Ian's right there in pace.
It looks like Darren retired the car.
Oh yeah, sure did. I was just looking. He was, I think he was our first car a lap down. You know, of the guys who had to take the fast repair, so they had to stop.
Yeah. He wasn't going to change his points, and he was probably ready for dinner.
Yeah, maybe this will be a drop for him as well. Sometimes you never know how that works out at the end of the season. And Wiley Cox now second place. He's got about a 3.5 to 4 second lead on Michael Kelly, so his position is fairly safe, assuming he doesn't make any big mistakes. You know, we were talking about the lap times, and not that I have, you know, a large number of laps, but I find that it's very hard to be super consistent. Like in some cars where I can be within like, you know, a tenth and a half lap after lap after lap. That's not the case with this car at all. Like it can vary by, you know, about 4/10, I feel. Even when I thought I had a good lap, or, you know, had 2 laps that I thought were consistent. You know, it could just be that the acceleration and braking events are so dramatic that a little bit goes a long way.
Well, and like you said earlier, you got more corners in this car than you would a different car in the same track, and the braking zones are so much longer, and the speeds are so high. It's very easy to make a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, this car just eats up asphalt. It's pretty incredible. And Cox putting a lap on Cruz Bay. Kurt making that very easy.
So I'm not sure how accurate it is, but the data I'm looking at looks like a lot of the faster cars are lapping in the 100, not lapping, but top speeds of high 140s, where Kurt's car's down to 131 at the end of the straightaway. So it's definitely hurting. And Dave Curtis as well, he's in the mid 130s.
Yeah, unless you can hook up with someone's draft, it's really going to cost you. I don't think there's enough straightaways here to really make that work.
Yeah.
Somewhere like Daytona, you can get away with it.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, no,
is that Michael Cox? And then Wiley Cox?
Yeah, Wiley Cox. Oh, and then Kelly's off.
Is there? Oh no! That's the end of the race.
It's the end of the race.
Oh, we missed it.
Yeah, we sure did miss it.
Let's
Ian
see.
Dixon with a win. Wiley Cox did get second place.
I'll follow some cars finishing up their lap. Yeah, our order is Ian Ditson first, Wiley Cox second, and Michael Kelly taking up the third spot. These cars we're following are not racing for a position; they're a lap apart.
It does look like John Clark's going to hold on for a top 4 there.
Yeah.
You know, not bad. He started from pole. These guys hopped out ahead of him, but he stuck with it. Good job. And he's still on the lead lap.
Yeah, let's bring up our results. Yeah, so Ian Ditson, winner by about 10 seconds, and then we had a close battle between Wiley Cox and Michael Kelly for second and third. As you said, John Clark started pole and fell back a little bit, but hung on for a solid fourth place finish. And then we had some of the guys who were caught up in that first lap incident. Dave Curtis in fifth, Kurt Uzbe in sixth, Bob Lang seventh, and then I think Stefan Vapo and Darren Treacle in the back got the worst of it. All right, let's give these guys a minute to jump in, see if we can grab them.
I think Stefan can afford the drop. Just venturing a guess there.
Yeah, I feel like he's won both segments of so many of the races we've had so far. Won't be tough for him. Let's see, I'm gonna jump to.
I think he could have pretty much the same result in the last 2 races. He's probably still going to take the championship handle.
Okay, let's see. Not too many people here to grab. Let's see. Let's grab. I don't see Ian yet. What if just grab Darren? Try and grab Darren. Hey Darren, we got you in the booth here.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull over the rest of the guys, but you had a very good, I'd say uneventful first race. Second race didn't quite go your way, did it?
No, the second race wasn't quite as good as the first one. But things happen.
Yeah, it looks like say first race you started in third, and Ian and Stefan got together and kind of paved the way for you. You still, even afterwards, you still look like you were pushing pretty hard, turning some good lap times.
Yeah, no, they definitely, the seas parted for me. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Which helped. Yeah, and then I just tried to put in. Well, I was trying to improve because that was at that point that was my practice.
Mm-hmm.
Since I jumped in qualifying and didn't have any practice. So I was trying to push and get my lap times down because they were in the high 131s. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking at that point I was kind of pushing and trying to improve, thinking about the second race. So that's a tough car at that track.
Yeah. Yeah, we were actually discussing during the formation lap how we were looking forward to watching you drive through the field, and you drove into the field instead of through it.
Yeah, that was a different way of driving through it, I guess, or into it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it was. I guess it was Stefan because he had said something, but he took the tried to avoid the mess and took the gap that I was going for.
Yeah.
And I just plowed him.
Yeah, so we watched the replay, and it looked like any of the cars that weren't in the front really had no choice. There was nothing you could have did. I'm not even sure you could have stopped in time if you tried.
Oh no, there wasn't going to be any stopping. I can tell you. I was a full bore, man. If there wasn't a gap, I was going to be making one.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it just it's a tight track right there, and at the beginning there with the concrete walls and no runoff, so
yeah,
those things happen.
Well, congratulations on your race 1 win, and sorry race 2 didn't go your way.
That's okay. Things happen.
So we've got Bob in here. I'm curious to hear from Bob's point of view what happened at the start of race 2.
Well, I got cabs from behind, and that was that.
Mm. Yeah, from our side, we didn't really get a great view of it, but we could see you kind of going across the track, and you collected Kurt, and then after that, it was pretty much over for everybody behind you.
Yeah, it actually looks like Kurt might have stopped the wall, and he came over on me in the right rear.
Okay. Yeah, it was hard. We were speculating that maybe it was just a cold tires and an understeer with too much power, but yeah, it was hard to see from the angles that we had.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's I think we've all had some issues where we've caused some other people distress, but as Jim was saying, we have a few drop weeks this week, so anything isn't really going to ruin anybody's race or championship. So anybody at a pit or whatever is going to have a few more opportunities at it. All right, as I say, let's go to race 2 winner Ian Ditson. Ian, you had a bit of a mishap turn in the first turn on the first race, and you were able to recover pretty well. And then the second race, even though starting in the back, you got right through that incident and then charged pretty much right to the front.
Yeah, race 1 was interesting. It was really fun though. Getting that little tap, it kind of bit of a throwback to karting days. But good push through, good drive back. I was surprised how hard I came back at it. And then race 2, lucky start, I guess. And then I think I had a little bit of contact with me going into it. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
And then just kind of Mike made a mistake going into the hairpin,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of capitalized on my opportunity to go through, and from there, just the rest is history.
Yeah, I think you know, from as a spectator, we were robbed a little bit of a good race because you know you got out front and then we're turning really fast lap times. Darren got out front race one, had good lap times, and then I noticed you know Stefan in the back was turning lap times that were pretty fast, and it was like, man, like if you three cars were together, it really would have been good. You know, even in practice. I think we saw that Michael Kelly and Dave Curtis, you guys were all within a few tenths. Like, if we just kind of could have kept the field a little bit closer, would have been a lot more exciting. But, you know, it is what it is.
Really good race, I think. But
yeah,
it happens every now and then. But chaos, especially at Sonoma. So.
Jim mentioned, is this your first win?
With the GTO, yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
I guess if we gave out an overall, you'd have the overall points for today. First and a second, hard to beat that.
I think I got third first race, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think who beat me? Dave Curtis beat me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations, and let's jump over to Wiley Cox. Wiley had a pretty good pair of races there, I thought.
Yeah, feature ended up pretty good. I'm never the best qualifier, so I'm never going to start real far up, and I didn't make a lot of progress first race. I ended up with Stefan and Ian behind me, which is never good. I tried to keep them behind me for like a lap, and then I just had to, you know, they brain punted me out of the way, and I just kind of got out of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because it looked like Ian got close to you. I think it was like a bottom of 3, maybe that's what that is. And then you went off at the top, you know, kind of over the hill, and then jumped back on the track. Maybe tried to close the door, but Ian was already there.
Yeah, I got loose myself. I think I just got loose myself, and I just tried to take a little bit of evasive action so I wouldn't wipe you out. Just let you go by at that point because I wasn't.
Yeah, I think in 3 there was really minor touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But second race, started 4th, ended up getting 2nd. I don't know what happened to everybody in front of me. I got a little bit of a tap into the wall and the outside wall at 1, real light, but no damage. So just, again, I'm never the fastest guy out there, so I'm concentrating on staying smooth. I got the 132s. I was happy for that. That was my first 132 there. So, just tried to stay ahead of, I think I got ahead of Mike when he made one mistake and just tried to stay a consistent time. So, yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and so race 2, you know, you're just kind of out there, kind of at your own spot. But race 1, like when you were saying when you had the problem and Ian got around you, and I think Stefan did too. You were at the front of like 5 cars. I mean, you could have potentially been like 7th at the end of that lap.
And I and a bunch of people. Yeah, I got passed by a couple. I went from like 3rd to 6th in like half a lap. So I just couldn't get out of my own way for that one.
Yeah, it seemed like I mean. Just from my point, it seemed like maybe you made a few mistakes that kind of went your way, but you know, from the booth here anyway, it looked like you guys were all very similar paced, except for mistakes. You know, so.
Yeah, agreed. Mid pack, the mid pack, like you said, was all probably within a half second for like 4 of us. But yeah, second race, nerves got me the first race a little bit. And yeah, second race, I was just super relaxed out there. I didn't even know I ran a 127 until my crew chief called it out. I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. It didn't seem to be faster, but yeah, just stay smooth and try to keep out of trouble.
Yep. Well, congratulations, and I think we got everybody here in the booth. Everybody got a chance. Yep, sure did. So next week we're going to be at Watkins Glen, a track I think most of us are familiar with. Hopefully we get a few more than 9 cars. We'll have to do a little recruiting. I'm going to put that on you guys who are all in the booth. Everybody bring a friend next week, so we'll have 18. But yeah, it was a good race. Like I said, too bad we didn't have more cars. Jim, thanks for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. Hopefully, well enough to be back in the sim next week.
Yeah. Hope your hand's feeling better.
Thank you.
And that's it. It's another episode of the Vintage Racer Group race. Audi GT90s. We'll be back next week at Watkins Glen, and we hope everybody joins us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.